Hello, welcome. Today we're exploring the lesser known physiological impacts of psychological trauma, how the body itself holds memories of distress, often subtly but persistently. The body's stress response releases hormones that in the immediate short term has the purpose of helping the body to cope. These hormones include adrenaline, cortisol, and a lot of other lesser known hormones. In traumatic stress, because the stressor is huge, the body is overwhelmed and never quite recover. The body is unable to calm down and repeatedly experience the trauma again and again. This re-experiencing of the original trauma can have lasting adverse effects when triggered repeatedly. Trauma specialist Dr. Bessel van der Kolk documents the fact that our physical body recalls a trauma that we have experienced in bodily sensations. That's what happens when trauma is repeatedly recalled. This recall isn't merely a mental event, it seeps into our cells, our muscles, our breath, as the recall activates our nerves and stress hormones. When we listen closely, we realize the body is expressing itself in physical sensations what words cannot convey. Let's review some of these effects. Accelerated heart rate and nervous system activation. One of trauma's most immediate physiological expressions is through the heart. The autonomic nervous system, especially the sympathetic branch, activates in moments of perceived danger, preparing us to either fight or flee. For individuals with trauma, this response due to hormones secreted when you are under stress can perceive even without a persistent threat, causing a persistently heightened heart rate. The body remains alert as if bracing itself for an unknown impact. Respiratory constriction and breath patterns. Trauma alters how we breathe. It's common to experience shallow or rapid breathing as if our bodies are caught in a protective response. This constriction is often associated with the body's instinctual response to perceived danger, even when the mind is unaware of any immediate threat. Trauma can lead us to breathe as though we're hiding from a world that feels unsafe, impairing our capacity for deep, grounding breaths. Muscular tension and guarding reflexes. Persistent muscle tension, particularly in the shoulders, neck, and jaw, is a common physical manifestation of trauma. These muscles tighten almost instinctively as a protective mechanism, readying the body to brace against harm. Over time, this chronic muscle tension can contribute to aches, pains, and even postural changes, symbolizing the body's guarded state. Gastrointestinal distress, an often overlooked consequence of trauma, is an effect on the digestive system. Research have shown that stress responses, particularly those originating from trauma, can disrupt the gut, leading to symptoms such as nausea, discomfort, and chronic gastrointestinal distress. Your gut is lined with neurons which some call the second brain, and it can react to emotional distress in profound ways. Heightened skin sensitivity. Trauma can also affect the skin, increasing sensitivity and reactivity. Research suggests that stress-induced cortisol can alter the skin's barrier, making it more prone to inflammation, breakouts, and irritations, such as acne or dermatitis. The skin, our most visible boundary, often reflects the body's guarded stance, reacting to even subtle changes as a form of protection. Chronic fatigue and low energy levels. Chronic fatigue is a common symptom among individuals experiencing post-traumatic stress. While sleep is meant for a time of recovery and rest, for those with trauma, the body often remains vigilant even during sleep, disrupting natural restorative processes. This can lead to persistent exhaustion, as if carrying an unseen burden day after day, memory disruption, and cognitive fog. Finally, trauma can impact memory and cognition. Our brain can prioritize certain memories over others, creating both fragmented memories and cognitive fog. This disruption is thought to be the result of the brain's protective attempts to protect us from distressing memories. Yet it sometimes does so at the expense of clarity in the present. The result is difficulty focusing, troubling recalling recent events, and a sense of disconnection. The symptoms listed above is often accompanied by muscular pains, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, elevated blood sugar, and therefore can lead to chronic conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, metabolic diseases, chronic pain, and fatigue. People may develop unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with the pain of trauma, such as overeating, obesity, using tobacco or alcohol, and abusing substances of abuse, such as cocaine, speed, ice, and heroin. The body's response to emotional stress can cause inflammation, which can impact the brain and your body as well. All these are the long-term effects of psychological trauma. That is the reason why we want to stop the continuing impact of past trauma by resolving it, so that your body and your mind do no longer recall the trauma. It is important to realize that you don't have to keep on suffering from the effects of trauma each time you recall it. For besides the pain and anxiety experience, each time you recall the past trauma, it inflicts a toll on your body, which is really unnecessary. The effects of trauma on the body are a testament to the intricate relationship between mind and body. By understanding this physiological response, we can begin to approach healing not only through the mind, but also through the body, and through practices that restore safety, resilience, and peace. Healing is possible, one mindful step at a time. If you're experiencing physical ailments for which no understandable cause may be found, perhaps you may be suffering from the physical symptoms of psychological trauma. I invite you to initiate a conversation with me so that you can get to peace and healing. Thank you and bye.